What you're seeing on the screen is something you should never see in America. You have a dad in the foreground right here being surrounded by and soon to be dogpiled by about 6 cops. You got a cop in the background holding his daughter hostage and kidnapping her while they're about to tase her father. This is happening in America probably more than we realize. And this leads me back to a question before we cover this. Do psychopaths become cops, or do cops become psychopaths? You tell me what you think the answer is in the comment section. Before we get into this video, the father in the foreground is Keith. Keith is a veteran and he owns the YouTube channel called Coach Racket. Keith says he's a father and veteran and a whistleblower fighting back after 2 illegal Baker Act detainments and a campaign of retaliation carried out under false pretenses. He says, in March 2025, I was assaulted and forcibly taken from my home with no warrant, no hearing, and no due process. That's not supposed to be America. Just lies and a sworn petition. In May, it happened again. They raided my home without paperwork, tased me, and used force under color of law. He says these were not isolated mistakes. This was a coordinated abuse of power involving falsified court records, perjury, and illegal property seizures. And I kept the receipts, he says. Now I'm fighting back pro se in federal court. This channel documents every step of that process. And before I play this video, I want to give you some context so you know what's going on. In Keith's own words in a pinned comment under this video, because somebody says, let's get the whole story. Keith says, what you're seeing is an illegal psychiatric detainment. On May 22nd, 2025, I was tased and detained at a pool by Pinellas County deputies while with my daughter. No crime and no order on hand. They claimed there was a Baker Act order, but records show it wasn't filed or received by the sheriff's office until 30 plus minutes after the raid. This was my lawful parenting day and there was no emergency on site. I'm a disabled veteran and they bypassed the VA entirely. He says, I'm now pursuing federal action for civil rights violations, excessive force, and false imprisonment. And before I get into the video, I just want to say somebody else made a comment. He's a drunk. Turns out he is also a domestic abuse convict. And Keith responds to this comment saying that's completely false. You'll never find anything saying I'm a convicted abuser. You'll never even find charges. So now that we have the lay of the land, let's take a look at this video.
I feel like I should put a trigger warning for this video you're about to see. This is the full unedited video of the illegal raid that occurred on May 22nd to me and my daughter by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office. Mind you, before we even get started with this, they had no signed paperwork in hand and made no attempt to inform me that there was a Baker Act of any sort. They did not have that paperwork on hand until 30 minutes after the detainment and seizure of my weapons. On top of that, Baker Act law requires the least restrictive measures. This video shows a clear intent to provoke an escalation and ever-escalating force by the police. Notice how the third man in the stack is armed with a deadly weapon and brandishes pointing it right at my head with my daughter in the line of fire before I'm even aware that they're there. This is while his buddies are intending to provoke a response by threatening me with tasers and battering me upside the head. This is one of the first glaring problems. Baker Acts are supposed to be least restrictive measures, non-violent in nature. Notice how third man in the stack is walking up and shushing my daughter as he's walking up ready to point a weapon at my head. But he's walking up with the weapon at the low ready the entire time, intending to use it. Next, we'll notice that that same man is now brandishing the firearm fully extended, pointing it right at the back of my head with my daughter in the line of fire. Look directly above you, though. That is the timestamp from their own documentation showing that the sheriff's office never received this until 5/18, and I was already locked in the back of that hot cop car for 30 minutes at that point.
Let me point something out too before we progress into this, where this cop is shushing the girl, saying, hey, be quiet. We're going to attack your daddy. That is about as sick as you can possibly get. Because this child is going to be mentally scarred for life. She will never get these images out of her brain, thanks to the Pinellas County Sheriff's Department.
Notice how the one that was ready to go with the weapon is now putting it back in his holster because there's no weapon to be seen, there's no reason to be provoking deadly force and escalating in that manner. But his friends are already battering me upside the head, grabbing at me, ripping at my hair, and pulling at me without ever showcasing a court order of any sort that shows they had authority to be there. Notice how in the video, once it starts playing again, that the guy in the gray with the tactical vest on and the backwards baseball cap, Mr. Cool Guy, is basically jumping over my daughter. This entire situation shows reckless disregard for me and my child's safety, and I would say this crosses into the territory of reckless child endangerment 100%. If this was a regular person and not a cop doing this, they would be prosecuted instantly.
I mean, this right here, if you have kids, especially if you have kids, you don't even need kids to come to this conclusion, but this is truly, truly sick. The dad wasn't doing anything wrong. They don't have evidence that he had done anything wrong. They don't charge him with a crime. They haven't charged him with a crime, and yet they're going to inflict this kind of mental turmoil onto the mind of a little kid. It's outrageous. The little girl is running away. I don't know if you saw that. The little girl is running away from that officer, that young officer who took her. Right here. The cop is right here, and she's right here running away from the officer, screaming. She's concerned about her dad. She's screaming, "Daddy." He's going to pick her up.
You are trying to fucking kill me. You are fucking trying to kill me. You are trying to kill me. You are trying to kill me. Stay calm.
Mind you, this was just the initial seizure. Their behavior afterwards, once they had me in the car, was infinitely worse. When the Pinellas County Sheriff...
So before we get back into this, I also want to point out, if one of Keith's neighbors didn't have the wherewithal to record this, we probably would never hear about it. I can't tell if they have body cams, but even if they did, who's to say that they're not going to lose that body cam evidence? This is outrageous. Every American needs to see this. You're a dad at the pool with your kids. There's no warrant out for your arrest. And a bunch of thugs, a bunch of armed thugs from the local police department surround you, tell your child to be quiet while they're about to attack her parent. Should be unacceptable. This is not an undocumented person or an illegal person. This is an American. This is a veteran. And if they're going to do this to an American veteran, what kind of plans do you think they have for you? Don't ever sit there and think, this could never happen to me. It happens to people all the time.
When the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office attacked my daughter and I at the pool about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I knew that there was no chance that there was any lawful action that they were performing there. And anything I did past that was self-defense. Under Florida and federal law, I was resisting an unlawful detention and in no way resisting any lawful arrest that was happening. That's because they never had any paperwork on hand. Florida law says that if they're serving a warrant, if they're serving some type of action, they have to have it in their hands, ready to serve, already authorized, before they ever approach. They did not have any paperwork in their hands, nor was it ever produced until way after my detention.
And the way they walked up to him, it's almost like they intended to provoke a natural response. What would your response be if you're sitting there at the pool, you're dipping your feet in the pool, your child is right there, you're being a good parent, and then all of a sudden a bunch of guys try to grab you from behind? What would your reaction be? What if he was armed? I think we're going to see a whole lot of people start to defend themselves.
These guys are trying to say that I'm psychotic and delusional, but it seems like their story's falling apart the longer it goes along. That would also be why I haven't been charged with any type of crimes when they say I resisted in a massive way. I did, but I resisted an unlawful detention with no paperwork in hands, and the second I saw them not even attempt to produce it, they just attacked me. I knew exactly what it was. It was a kidnapping, it was an extrajudicial attack, and there was nothing good that was coming of it. If I had defended my rights and my daughter's rights more voraciously, I might have spent a couple days in a jail cell, but once the FBI got involved, it would have been classified exactly as it is right now. Self-defense. I was defending myself against an unlawful arrest, and the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office was the one that was illegally detaining me. Hence, kidnapping.
Or he could have died if he continued to resist, and they would have had no problem killing that little girl's father in front of her.
These people won't charge me with a crime, nor have they charged me with any crimes. That's because they don't want discovery to open up what actually happened here. As soon as they try to say that I'm a dastardly criminal, and they escalate it past this administrative bullshit that they're doing right now, then I get to ask in front of a court, everybody in there, what time were you supposed to be there? Why did you use force from the first second you laid eyes on me? Was this pretextual contact? All these questions will come up and be on the news. As we can tell by the fact that I haven't gotten a cease and desist for any of the things I'm saying about them, it most likely is true, and that's just silent acquiescence. If I had defended my rights a little bit more aggressively that day at the pool, it would have been seen even faster, because if I used genuine force against these people and it rose to that level, there would be no way to deny any of the things I'm saying right now. It would have been seen to be exactly what it was in the moment. A bunch of guys attacked me and my daughter, and I would have been protecting myself 100% within my rights to protect my daughter from a kidnapping. This is what my daughter's room looked like after the armed burglary had occurred. Mind you, they had no proper paperwork. The entire warrant was based under false pretext, and their reasoning was a risk protection order violation, but I had never been shown or served a risk protection order of any sort. It's been weeks since I came back to my home and saw how they left my place. They ransacked it. I haven't been able to sit down and really clean up my daughter's room, especially because she's not here with me, and because it's just showcasing what they were here for. They destroyed my daughter's room and gave it extra special attention. Before all this happened, my daughter's room was spotless. We are very organized. We like to keep things very particular, and she does that of her own accord. When I came back, there was stuff stuck to the walls. Her entire dresser was messed up and shit thrown all over the place. They went through all of her papers and things that I had logged for her. And notice how there's just laundry everywhere. There was candy thrown all over the floors. There have been a ton of wipes just thrown all over the place for no reason. And they just generally flipped everything upside down. This in particular was inside her closet, and I think they just really needed to get into there so badly, but they just ransacked her bathroom, went through all of her shit in here too. And then inside the closet, they moved her furniture to come in here and step all over as a step stool, broke the shelving in here trying to get up into the ceiling. Why? Why were they going into the ceiling to search for weapons when they had already found the weapons as soon as they came into the apartment? I told them that they were going to be right in my room inside the closet. They went searching with this broad scope throughout the entire apartment and just fucking destroyed it.
This right here is law enforcement protection and service in action. You really think they were interested in protecting this little girl?
Kicking holes in the walls, ripping things out the ceiling, punching more holes in the walls. There was no rhyme or reason to any of this other than an intimidation tactic. Mind you, while they were inside my home, they also stole electronics from me. This was the most likely or second most likely time period where they would have stolen a bottle of Adderall from me that was prescribed to me, so diversion of a substance as well. And they stole a whole bunch of SD cards that were most likely containing evidence of police misconduct from my own interactions with them. So it really is telling what this whole operation was for. And the fact that they've been threatening me and intimidating me by saying, "We could have hit you with felony charges." I was supposed to be charged with a felony if there was weapons found inside the home, but I was never in violation of a risk protection order. So what felonies are you going to be hitting me with, or is this just pure and simple intimidation? The last little tidbit about this one is that they were going through my medical records from both the Army and the VA. They had lifted some files out of there specifically to try and use against me, but I think they got all their information wrong on what they were looking for in this raid. And then they stole the falsified writs of habeas corpus from the first incident so that they knew what evidence I really had against them. So it was just an instance of evidence tampering, witness intimidation, and other crimes being committed within my home with no proper paperwork and no real legality behind it.
It sure gives the appearance of pure police retaliation. And this photo right here should be on the cover of Time magazine. Every single American should see what this dad went through and what this child went through at the hands of our protectors and servants. Again, his name is Keith Rackett. His YouTube channel is Coach Rackett. I will leave that link in the description for you, along with his GoFundMe. If you visit him, let him know Here's the Deal sent you. We need to get this guy some help. He needs some real justice there in Florida. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below, and I will see you in the next video.